What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today, we are not talking about a blade. I'm getting totally outside of my wheelhouse. I want to do some commentary, a short review of what should have been a pop culture iconic moment. Iconic moment is what it should have been. Unfortunately, it has turned into a pop culture pile of shit. Excuse me for profanity, but I'm going to use some profanity because fuck this shit, okay? I want to talk about Amazon Prime's new series, Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power. And that's what it is. We're going to talk about this new series that Amazon Prime has sunk $30 trillion into, and I think it's going to be a total failure and a loss for Amazon Prime. My prediction, if it doesn't come true, what the hell do I know? I review knives. I don't review TV shows and movies. But I do have a history with J.R.R. Tolkien and his work. I want to show you something. This is my original copy, okay, my original copy of the Fellowship of the Ring. This is from the 67th pressing of this in 1978. I received this book in the box set of the Lord of the Rings, Christmas of 1979. I was 9 years old. I am 52 years old now. I have decades invested in reading Tolkien. I have read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I couldn't even tell you how many times in over 40 years. I bet before I was 15 years old, I read it 10 times. So I've got a little bit invested there in Tolkien. I'm not a Tolkien expert. I don't have all the names and the places and everything memorized, and I don't care. Okay, I'm reading it for the enjoyment. I'm not a Tolkien scholar. So I go, and we've got about a year invested in this whole Amazon Prime, Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power series. So we've been waiting on a year. Everybody on the internet's been talking. There's two sides to this whole internet conversation. There's the pro whatever bullshit they're doing side, and then there's the fandom side. Both of them incredibly vocal about this. Everybody talking about what it's going to be, who's working on it, what they've worked on before. Is this going to be a modernized, idealized, agendized, aggrandized version of Tolkien? What is it going to be? And then finally, after months and months and months of waiting, we get trailers that drop and the whole internet explodes. You have to understand, there are decades, there are generations of Tolkien fans. This work of Tolkien's has been translated into, I think, 100 languages around the world. It's probably one of the best-selling mythos in the history of mankind. One of the most widely accepted in the history of mankind. All right? It's very, very important to the fans of it that it be right, that it be respectful of the work. And from what the trailers that we saw, it was not going to be. So then we've got a couple of months, 2 or 3 months or whatever after the first trailer dropped, that everybody's going to talk about this. They're arguing back and forth. It's been great entertainment, to say the least. And things were not looking that good from the trailers. It looked like it was going to be a feminized, diversified, inclusionized, modern Kool-Aid hair colored mess. And spoiler alert, that's pretty much what it turned out to be. So I've got some points here that I want to talk about. I'm going to keep this very short because I'm not a reviewer of media. I review knives and firearms and outdoor stuff. And you are welcome if you find this video because you care about what's happening with this Tolkien Lord of the Rings Girlboss of Power series, then, you know, check out my other stuff if you're interested in it. And for you guys that watch, that are my subscribers and viewers, hey, I'm sorry. Every once in a while, I got to break out and do something different. Just bear through it, okay? It'll be okay. So I've got some points here that I want to talk about on this. And the first thing is the name of the series, The Lord of the Rings Girlboss of Power. I think that's the perfect name because, surprisingly, that's what the series turned out to be about. A girl boss of power. So they have appropriately named the show. Galadriel, who this is going to be centered around, a main character in this series apparently. I'm just going to call Galadriel from now on. It is not the Galadriel from J.R.R. Tolkien's works. Not at all. Okay? Zero. Like zero. It's like the name is there, but you know, it's not really Galadriel. It's Galadriel. And what we've got here is the same thing that we have been suffering through for about a decade. These people in Hollywood or at Amazon Prime or whoever is creating this content, okay? They're not stories, they're content. Whoever is doing it, they have, I won't say stumbled upon, they have developed a system in their minds where they can elevate women above and beyond what they perceive society views them as. And I'm going to tell you right now, the perception that society does not view women as special on the large, and I know some cultures, there's some difference, okay, but let's use America as an example because I'm in America, the people I know are in America, and as far as pop culture goes, we are the world leader as far as pop culture goes and everything that we establish through that pop culture. So, in America, let me tell you about women. Women are about as powerful as a nuclear bomb in a contained space. Every man that I have ever met in my life has acted a fool multiple times because of a woman. Women have this thing in between their legs, and I'm not diminishing them to just that. I'm just saying this is a core reason for this. They have this thing in between their legs that men will worship them for. Men will be, they'll be like, oh my God, please give me that thing. Please, please, please. Oh yes, you're beautiful. And yes, you're smart. And yes, you can do anything you want. You want to be a Kung Fu ninja? Yes, just give me that thing, please. Women are extremely powerful. Not only do they totally have control over men at large, they also have the ability to birth another human being out of their body. Let me tell you how powerful that is. If they couldn't do that, the human race would end, period. Nuclear war probably would not end the human race totally. But if women could not birth babies out of their body, the human race would end within 1 generation. Period. That is how powerful a woman is. Except in the Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power. Because in Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power, the woman is powerful because she's a man with breasts. She can do any manly thing better than men. She can think faster than men. She's more confident than men. She's more honest and driven and focused than men. This woman, I'm going to tell you right now, Galadriel in The Girlboss of Power. If I was ever in a dark alleyway facing down 50 giant men that I knew each of them could individually kick my ass. If I was going to have anybody in that alleyway with me, it would be Guy Ladriel. I wouldn't even have to take care of one of those guys. Guy Ladriel would take care of all of them because she's a girl boss of power and can do no wrong. That is what her character is in this. This modern interpretation of making women more powerful to fight the patriarchy. You want to elevate women up while diminishing men. You want to make the women more like men, more physically capable, more violent, hunter-seekers. That is not what women are, regardless of what you do in a TV show. Then they want to diminish the men down. They want them less aggressive, less assertive, less confident, less honest, which does show its face in this first 2 episodes. And that is a falsified view. It's not an incorrect view because they know for a fact this is not the way people are. It is a falsified view they are trying to push on people. And I don't know what they're trying to do. If they're just trying to drive men and women away from each other, they're damn well doing a good job about it. They've got women so confused right now about what they are, what they want to be, what they should be, that men are just like, holy shit, man, I'm just backing away until you get it right. When you decide what you want to be, whether it's a man with breasts or it's a woman or whatever you want to be, just come and tell me. Then we can talk about a relationship. That's the way things are going right now because of bullshit like this. There are young girls, young females that will see this character and think that's the way they are supposed to act in life. And it will set them on a pathway that culminates at 50 years old being single, having 14 cats, and living by yourself in a dark apartment somewhere. That's the way it'll end up for them. I don't know why they're doing it. That's girl boss of power right there. The number one thing that you are going to see in Lord of the Rings, girl boss of power. The next thing is diversity and inclusion. This one thing stopped me totally from ever being able to immerse myself into this first 2 episodes at least of this series. When I start seeing the Harfoots, which are like predecessors to hobbits, because there was no hobbits in this age, but they want to put them in there because everybody's familiar with hobbits from the Jackson movies. So they put these Harfoots in. This is a species, and there's all this diversity within it, and it feels so incredibly forced in there. I mean, incredibly forced into it. And they do the same thing with the elves. They do the same thing with the dwarves. There's not different races of dwarves. There is, I don't think, I'm not a Tolkien expert, but I don't think that you could have an interracial dwarven marriage, because there's only one race of dwarves. It's dwarves. I don't think that they've ever been written in the Tolkien mythology as anything other than a single race. Call me out wrong on that if I am, but I'm pretty sure it's just one race. And if it is, what does it hurt to show it as one race? Okay, if I was going to make a movie about some Caucasian family in bumfuck southeast United States, because that's where I live in East Tennessee. If I was going to make a TV series about the average family here, Caucasian family, and I went in and when I made the TV series, I thought, man, this needs diversity. Okay, in this average Caucasian family in this story, we're going to make the father black, and we're going to make one of the children Middle Eastern, and and the dog is going to be a transsexual. Their dog is a transsexual. That wouldn't make any sense there either. And that's one of the things they're pushing. Oh my God, they're pushing this shit in everything anymore. That's one of the reasons I don't even have TV service in my home. There is no TV service in my home. My TV is not hooked up to the internet. It's not hooked up to an antenna. I don't have cable. I don't have satellite. The only thing I have is a DVD player. I can put a DVD in and watch it. And I only buy DVDs of products that I would want to see anyway. So I don't see all of this, thank God. But I did watch The Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power, the first 2 episodes, and it is so full of this crap. The first 2 episodes was enough for me. I can tell you right now, I will not be watching any of the other episodes. I am going to rely on the content makers that I follow that, keep me filled in on the pop world, the pop culture world, I mean. Gary over at Nerdrotic. Right now, while I'm recording this, you've got all of those guys. They're doing Friday Night Tights live right now that I'm going to go into as soon as I get through with this video. But you got Gary over at Nerdrotic, Az at Heels versus Babyface. You've got Mauler, and you've got the Critical Drinker, and all of these guys that are taking a real honest look at what is happening in pop culture and how it affects society in 2022 now. These are the guys that I'm going to watch. I'm just going to watch their reviews of it just to hear what they're talking about. I'm not interested in the show anymore. I will not be watching any other episodes. So there you go on that. So this is the only review you'll have to sit through from Baz on Blades. All right, the next thing is the dialogue. The dialogue is boring. It seems like it is written by a 20-year-old that really has not lived much life or interacted with many adults. Decisions made leave you shaking your head. The storyline it's just incredibly simple, and basically it is there to reinforce the ideals, the agendas that are being pushed in this. The storyline is written in a way to expose Galadriel as Girlboss, to establish that, rather than to tell a story. You basically, in this, you go from Girlboss to weak men to diversity to Girlboss to bad dialogue to Girlboss to diversity. That's the storyline of the first 2 episodes. It's incredibly boring. It is so boring. There is no story that is going to grab any real Tolkien fan and pull them in. And that's being compounded by all the rest of the agenda issues, the message. Okay, this show is boring. Let me tell you how boring it is. About 40 minutes into the first episode of a show based on Tolkien, an author that I love and have been reading for over 40 years, 100 times, 200, I don't know. I should be super excited about this. I should be engrossed in it. Instantly drawn into this world, this mythos that I know and love. 40 minutes into it, I'm like, I catch myself leaving Amazon Prime to go to eBay to find another block of wood to use in a project in my shop. I'm like, hey, I haven't checked in a couple of days. I got a little cash sitting around. I'm going to go find another block of wood to use in another project. 40 minutes into the first episode of this show I'm supposed to be super duper excited about. And that happened like 3 times in the first 2 episodes. I caught myself wanting to leave, saying, I can come back and, start where I, left off. That should never happen. It is incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. And I think that's what we can sort of tie up this review. We can sort of condense this down into a super tight ball. And then hopefully 20 trillion years from now, it'll explode and the whole universe will come out of nothing. That's happened before. So, we got Girlboss of Power, name of the show. The best thing about it, aptly named, perfect name, Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power. It rolls off of the tongue and it describes the show. Perfect naming there by Amazon Prime. The name of the game, elevate women up, make them men with breasts. And we all love breasts, okay? But I don't want men with breasts. I like women with breasts. I respect women. I do not want my woman to act like the guy next to me. Okay? I want my woman to be a woman, not a guy with breasts. At the same time, they're elevating these women up artificially and in a masculine way. They're diminishing all the men. All the men around these women are being constantly diminished through bad decision making, through dishonesty, disloyalty, just all weakness of character, physical weaknesses, where the women are like, I mean, there's the snow troll in the cave scene that all the men with Guy Ladriel get their asses handed to them, and then Guy Ladriel comes in this sort of Matrix-like wire kung fu scene, and she kills this snow troll or frost troll or whatever he was in like 10 seconds. She had like 8 or 10 men, not men, elves, okay? They've lived hundreds of years and they've trained for hundreds of years, or thousands of years, I don't know. And all of this, they're elves. They all get their ass kicked, but Guy Ladriel, who is over in the corner like fixing her makeup or something, I can't remember what she was doing, she comes swinging in on a fucking vine like Tarzan and kicks this troll's ass, kills it in like 10 seconds. It never touches her. After it defeated all of these men. Reality check? Is that going to happen? I mean, I love badass women, okay? As long as they're women. But that's never going to happen. Troll's not going to kick 10 men's ass and then a man come in and kill it. It's not realistic. So, you're going to elevate women, you're going to diminish men. It's scattered all through this with all characters, okay? All of them. The diversity inclusion, it's totally saturated across everything in this show. It is incredibly distracting. It killed the show for me. It just killed it for me. It destroyed the feeling, the spirit of this. And then you combine that with the dialogue in it, the story writing. It's so, it's not simplistic, but it's so agenda driven. Everything is aimed at establishing one of these ideologies, the elevating the women, the girl boss, diminishing the men, the diversity inclusion. Everything seems to happen just for that. The scenes are set up for it. The dialogue is set up for it. That's the storyline. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I will not be watching any more of it. I'm 52 years old. I've only got so many years left in my life. I'm not wasting 1 second of it watching any more of this. And that is my advice to you. Find the content makers out there that do pop culture and are honest about it. Whether you're into movies, TV series, music, comic books, whatever you're into in pop culture, find the people that are super honest, that are just going to shoot you straight on this. And if you need to know some names, drop me a line at bazonblades@gmail. I'll hook you up with some fantastic, highly respected content makers that will, shoot you straight on this stuff, so you don't have to waste your time or money watching and supporting this crap. And that's what I recommend with Amazon Prime's Lord of the Rings, Girlboss of Power. Don't waste your time on it. Period. It's crap. Period. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.